My name is Lucas Bennett. If you ever meet me after this story, smiling, calm, telling you everything is fine, do not believe me. It won't be me. It will be the thing that walked out of that cabin. And the real us? We're still inside. There were 4 of us on the hike. Me, Lucas, Ethan Carter, the practical one, Mason Reed, always joking, and Daniel Hayes, quiet, observant, the one who noticed things first. We had planned the trip for weeks. 3 days in the forest, no city noise, no stress, just trees and fresh air. The forest we chose wasn't famous, no horror legends, no missing person stories. Just a long trail system stretching through miles of pine and thick undergrowth. We reached the trailhead at 2:18 p.m. The parking lot was empty, not one car. Daniel looked around and said, "That's strange for a Saturday." Ethan shrugged. "Maybe we just got lucky." Lucky. That word feels like a joke now. The first hour was normal. The trail was clear, marked by small wooden signs nailed into trees. The sky was bright, sunlight cutting through the branches in golden beams. We were laughing, talking about random things. Normal. Then Mason stopped walking. "Hey, is your map doing that?" We all checked our phones. The GPS line, the little blue path, was flickering. Zooming in, zooming out, spinning slightly. Signal bars going from full to none to full again. Ethan said, "Probably the forest interference." We accepted that. We shouldn't have. 10 minutes later, my phone vibrated. Recalculating route. But I wasn't navigating anywhere specific. Then something new appeared on the map. A small cabin icon. 0.8 miles ahead. I frowned. Did anyone research a cabin on this trail? They all shook their heads. Mason smirked. "Maybe it's a ranger station." Daniel's voice was low. It wasn't on the online map. We all looked again. There it was. Same distance on every phone. 0.8 miles. Like it was fixed there. Waiting. We followed it. We reached it at sunset. The clearing appeared suddenly. One moment, thick trees. Next moment, open space. And in the center stood the cabin. It wasn't large, but it felt heavy. Dark wood walls, aged almost black. A small porch slightly tilted to the left. 2 windows clouded from inside. No lights. No smoke. No sound. The door was closed. Ethan stepped forward and knocked. Nothing. He pushed gently. The door creaked open. Inside, the air was cold. Too cold. There was a wooden table in the center of the room. 4 chairs. A fireplace with gray ashes. Dust everywhere. Except on the table were 4 metal cups. Shiny. Clean. Placed perfectly at equal distance. Facing outward. Like someone expected us. Daniel whispered, "That's not right." No one responded. We walked inside anyway. That was our first real mistake. We didn't stay long at first. We decided to keep hiking to find a proper campsite. We left the cabin around 6:40 p.m. We walked in a straight direction. I checked the compass. Ethan checked his GPS. Daniel marked trees with a small pocket knife. Shallow scratches, so we'd know if we circled back. We walked for 35 minutes. The forest got darker, the air colder. Then the trees thinned. We stepped into a clearing, and there it was. The cabin. Exact same position. Exact same tilt in the porch. Exact same dead silence. Mason laughed nervously. "No way!" Daniel ran back to the nearest tree. There was the scratch mark. We hadn't turned. We hadn't looped. We walked straight and ended up here. Again. We tried another direction. 45 minutes this time. Faster walking. Breathing harder. No turns. No curves. Just straight. Clearing. Cabin. Waiting. sky was nearly black now. We didn't say it out loud, but we all knew we weren't allowed to leave. The forest at night is not forgiving, so we chose the cabin. Second mistake, we placed a camping lantern on the table. The shadows moved strangely along the walls, not matching our movements. The fireplace ashes looked disturbed now, like someone had recently touched them. I knelt and put my hand near the ashes. Warm, very faint, but warm. Mason said, "That's impossible." No one had been here. No footprints. No tire tracks outside. Nothing. Ethan tried calling for help. No signal. My phone battery dropped from 76% to 12% in seconds, then jumped back to 63%. Daniel's phone completely shut off, then turned back on by itself, all at once, like something was feeding from them. At exactly 11:12 p.m., there was a knock. 3 slow knocks. Not loud, but deliberate. We froze. No one moved. Then, a voice. "Lucas!" My blood went cold. It was my voice. Exactly mine. Same tone, same breathing. "Open the door." "It's me." Ethan stared at me. "You're right here." The voice outside sounded tired. "Guys, I got lost. Open the door." My stomach twisted. There were only 4 of us. We all entered the forest together. "So who was outside?" Mason whispered. "Don't answer." The knocking came again. 3 times. Slow. Then silence. We didn't sleep. None of us did. At 2:07 a.m., the door opened. No wind. No force. It just opened. And they walked in. 4 figures. Identical to us. My double stood directly across from me. Same jacket. Same dirt stains. Same scratch on my arm. But his eyes didn't reflect the lantern light. They were flat. Empty. Like painted glass. He tilted his head slightly and smiled. Too wide. "Thank you for coming," he said. His voice was mine, but hollow. Ethan's double stepped forward. "You stayed," it said calmly. Mason's double grinned. Daniel's double didn't blink. Not once. It happened fast. Mason lunged first. His double moved before he did, like it knew. They collided, but something was wrong. The sound of impact was muted, like the air absorbed it. Daniel tried to run toward the door. His double blocked it effortlessly. Ethan shouted for us to stick together, but our copies moved in perfect coordination, mirroring us, anticipating every move. My double stepped closer to me. "So much easier," he whispered. "What?" I demanded. "When you choose to stay." Then he touched my arm, and everything went cold. I don't remember the exact moment. Only flashes. Mason screaming. Ethan gasping. Daniel hitting the wall. The lantern falling. Darkness swallowing the room. Then silence. I woke up outside. Sunlight through trees. Birds chirping. Peaceful. Too peaceful. Ethan stood above me. "You passed out." Mason helped me sit up. Daniel handed me water. The cabin was gone. No clearing. Just dense forest. My phone showed full battery. Full signal. GPS working perfectly. It showed a straight trail back to the parking lot. We walked back. No loops. No glitches. No cabin. Everything normal. But something felt wrong. They walked too perfectly. Same stride length. Same pace. Same breathing rhythm. I stopped suddenly. They stopped at the exact same time. In sync. Too perfect. I laughed nervously. "Remember that time in college when Ethan locked himself out of the dorm?" Ethan smiled. "Yes. Flat. No details. No embarrassment. No memory. Just yes." That's when I knew. We reached the parking lot. And there were two cars, identical, same model, same scratches, same license plate. My heart dropped. 4 people stood near the second car. Us. Bruised. Terrified. Real. The other Lucas pointed at me and screamed, "Don't go with them!" Mason's real voice shouted, "They're not us!" The 3 standing beside me slowly turned their heads toward me, smiling, wide, unnatural. And in that moment, I understood. Only one group leaves. The other stays. And the cabin keeps the originals. I don't know which version I am. I remember the cabin. I remember the fight. I remember waking up outside. But sometimes, when I look in the mirror, my eyes don't reflect light properly. Sometimes my smile feels too wide. Sometimes my movements feel slightly delayed. And sometimes late at night my phone vibrates. Notification. Recalculating route. Cabin ahead. 0.8 miles. If you ever see the 4 of us hiking again, if we look calm, if we invite you to join us, if we tell you about a peaceful cabin in the woods, do not come. Do not follow. Do not believe us. Because the real Lucas, the real Ethan, the real Mason, the real Daniel, we're still in that cabin, and something else is wearing our faces. Story 2. My name is Lucas Hale. I didn't go looking for them. I went hiking. That's all. It was supposed to be 3 days alone in the northern mountain range. No social media, no work, no noise. Just trees. I wanted silence. I got it. Just not the kind I expected. The trailhead was empty. No ranger station. No warning signs. Just a dirt parking lot and a wooden board listing distances to various checkpoints. I checked my GPS. Signal was weak but usable. The forest swallowed sound quickly. After 20 minutes of walking, the outside world felt erased. Pine trees stood tall and thick. The ground was soft with needles. No wind. I remember thinking how untouched everything felt. Like no one had been there in years. By late afternoon, my GPS began fluctuating. The arrow spun slowly. Signal bars flickered. The trail line blurred. I assumed it was interference from terrain. I kept walking. Around sunset, I noticed something strange. The trees looked marked. Not with paint, with cuts. Shallow slashes carved into bark. Not random. Deliberate. Symbols maybe. Or counting marks. I told myself hunters probably did it. Still, I turned around. Or at least I tried to. But the trail didn't look the same anymore. The path had narrowed. The forest thicker. My GPS screen went gray. No signal. I felt irritation before fear. I had enough supplies for 3 days. I could retrace steps in daylight. I decided to walk a little further to find higher ground. That was the last decision I made freely. I smelled smoke before I saw anything. Wood smoke. Fresh. Then I heard something else. Rhythmic. Low. Like chanting carried by air. I crouched and moved slowly. Through the trees I saw them. Huts. Roughly built from wood and mud. Arranged in a circle around an open clearing. At least 20 structures. People moved between them. Bare feet. Dark clothing. Faces smeared with ash or mud. They weren't modern. No phones. No generators. No vehicles. Just firelight. I froze. I hadn't seen any mention of a settlement in this region. I took a slow step back. A branch snapped under my boot. The chanting stopped. Every head turned toward the forest. Toward me. They moved fast. Quieter than I expected. 3 men grabbed me before I could run. They didn't speak much. Just short commands in a language I didn't recognize. They tied my wrists with rope made of twisted fiber. I didn't fight hard at first. I thought this was a misunderstanding. A territorial issue. A warning. But when they dragged me into the center of the clearing, I saw something that changed everything. In the middle stood a wooden platform, stained dark, too dark. Around it were bones, animal bones. I hoped they were animal bones. They tied me to a thick post near the platform. No one struck me. No one screamed. Everything was calm, organized. Like this was routine. A woman approached and examined my face, not with anger, with curiosity. An older man stepped forward. His presence shifted the group. Leader, maybe. He looked at me for a long time, then at the sky, then at the others. He nodded once. The chanting resumed, low, rhythmic. I felt my pulse in my ears. This wasn't random. I wasn't just trespassing. I had walked into something deliberate. They didn't kill me immediately. That was worse. They left me tied near one of the huts. 2 guards sat nearby, silent, watching. The chanting continued intermittently through the night. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the platform, the stains, the bones. At some point near dawn, I noticed something. On the edge of the clearing, near a stack of wood, a backpack. Modern. Black. Not mine. Weathered. Cut open. Empty. I wasn't the first. Over the next day, I observed carefully. They had routines. Cooking, collecting water, preparing something near the platform. The platform wasn't old. The wood was relatively fresh, replaced often, maintained. I counted at least 30 people in total. Men, women, children, all participating in something. There was no electricity, no modern tools beyond knives and axes. Yet they were organized, disciplined. I saw markings carved into a large tree at the center of the clearing. Rows of vertical lines. Hundreds. Tally marks. I stopped counting after 50. By late afternoon, they moved me closer to the platform. Still no explanations. No speeches. No anger. Just ritual. They washed my hands, my face, like preparation. The older man approached again. He held a blade. Long, sharpened, polished. He studied me like an object. Then he raised the blade and pressed it lightly against my chest. Not cutting, testing. The crowd began humming. Low vibration in the air. My fear turned into something else. Clarity. If I didn't act soon, I would die. No dramatic struggle. No final words. Just another tally mark carved into wood. That night, rain began falling. Soft at first, then heavier. The guards shifted position under a small shelter. My ropes had loosened slightly from the washing earlier. I twisted my wrist slowly, skin burning, fibers tightening. I didn't rush. I waited for thunder. When it came, I pulled hard. The rope snapped against the post. Pain shot through my hands, but I was free. I didn't run immediately. I moved slowly behind the huts, keeping low. Rain masked my movement. The forest edge was close. Too close. As I reached it, a hand grabbed my shoulder. I reacted without thinking. I swung my elbow back, connected with bone. The guard staggered. I ran. Branches hit my face. Mud swallowed my boots. Behind me, shouting. Then the chanting started again. Faster this time. Louder. They weren't panicking. They were pursuing. I ran blindly. No GPS. No direction. Just away. But the forest felt different now. Like it belonged to them. I saw more carved symbols on trees. Not random. Guides, markers. They knew this terrain like veins in their hands. I didn't. I stumbled down a slope and rolled into a shallow ravine. My ankle twisted. Sharp pain. I crawled behind fallen logs. Voices passed above me. Calm. Not frantic. They weren't afraid of losing me. That realization froze my blood. They knew something I didn't. I woke to silence. No voices, no chanting, just birds. I tried to stand. My ankles screamed in protest. Swollen, unstable. I could barely walk. I moved slowly through the forest. Every direction looked identical. No landmarks, no trail. I thought I was escaping. But when I stepped through a cluster of trees, I saw smoke again. The clearing, the huts, the platform. I had circled back, or they had guided me. This time they didn't tie me immediately. They surrounded me. The older man stepped forward. He looked satisfied, not angry, not cruel, just certain. They led me back to the platform. Rain had washed it clean. Fresh wood, fresh rope. I understood then. The escape attempt wasn't unexpected. It was part of the ritual. The prey must try to flee. The hunt must complete. That's why they weren't afraid. They tied me again. But something inside me changed. Fear dulled, replaced by something colder, more focused. I looked at them differently now. Counted distances. Watched hand positions. Noticed who held weapons. Noticed where children stood. I wasn't thinking about survival anymore. I was thinking about ending it. All of it. No gods, no curses, no chosen destiny. Just human beings following a system that could break. When they brought the blade down toward me, I moved. Hard, violently. The rope tore skin from my wrist, but it loosened. The blade slipped. I grabbed it. I didn't think. I reacted. Chaos erupted. Not screaming. Movement. Bodies colliding. I don't remember every detail. Only flashes. The leader falling. Someone rushing from behind. Mud. Blood mixing with rain. The platform cracking under weight. I kept moving. Kept striking. Not rage. Instinct. Primal survival. They weren't trained fighters. They relied on ritual. On structure. When that structure broke, so did they. It didn't last long. Minutes, maybe. When silence returned, it was heavier than before. I stood alone in the clearing. Smoke still rising from fires. Huts intact. Bodies scattered. The rain had stopped. My hands shook. Not from guilt. Not from horror. From adrenaline. I looked at the tall tree in the center. The tally marks. Hundreds. I took the blade and carved one more. Then I walked into the forest. I don't know how long I've been walking. Days, maybe. I found a dirt road eventually. Collapsed beside it. Someone found me. I told them I got lost. Injured. Nothing more. They asked about the cuts on my hands. The blood. I said I fell. No one questioned it deeply. There are no records of a tribal settlement in that forest. No missing hikers officially reported. No investigation team searching. It's like they never existed. But sometimes, when I close my eyes, I hear chanting. Low. Rhythmic. And I wonder something I don't like admitting. What if they weren't sacrificing to a god? What if they were preventing something? What if the ritual wasn't to choose someone, but to contain someone? Because the way they looked at me during that final moment, it wasn't fear. It was recognition. Like they had been waiting. Not for a victim. For me. And sometimes when I wake up in the middle of the night, my hands still feel warm. Like they're holding that blade. Like I'm not finished. And I don't know which thought scares me more. That they're gone. Or that somewhere in that forest, the clearing is still there. Waiting. Story 3. My name is Lucas Bennett. If you ever hear a distorted voice on a broken radio saying, "Do not enter the hole," please understand something. It might be you. I wasn't searching for another world. I was just trying to clear my head. 3 days off. One backpack. Enough food for 72 hours. A marked trail through the northern mountains. Nothing extreme. The parking lot was empty when I arrived. Cold morning air. Thin mist rising between the trees. Everything looked perfectly normal. I checked my GPS, full battery, strong signal. I started walking at 9:12 a.m. The trail was clean and quiet. Pine trees stretched high above me, blocking most of the sun. The ground was layered with fallen needles that softened each step. No birds. That was the first thing I noticed. No insects either. Just wind. It didn't bother me at first. Silence was what I came for. 2 hours in, the GPS flickered. Just briefly. The blue arrow froze, then jumped slightly to the right of the trail. I adjusted my direction. It corrected itself. Probably weak satellite coverage, I thought. Around noon, I reached a fork in the trail. The wooden signpost had fallen over. The lettering had faded. My map showed only one path, straight ahead. But visually, there were two. One narrow and worn. The other wider, but strangely smooth. I chose the smooth one. I don't know why. Maybe curiosity. Maybe boredom. Maybe instinct. I walked for another hour. The air felt heavier. Still no animal sounds. Then I saw it. It wasn't large. About 6 feet wide. A circular depression in the ground. Perfectly round. No rocks inside. Just darkness. Not shadow. Darkness. Like the light didn't want to enter it. The edges were clean. Too clean. As if cut with precision. There were no signs around it. No warnings. No footprints nearby. Just this perfectly circular void in the forest floor. I circled it once. Threw a small stone inside. No sound of impact. No echo. Nothing. It didn't feel dangerous. It didn't feel supernatural. It felt wrong. Like an error in reality. And that made me curious. As I stood near it, my backpack radio crackled. I carried a small emergency radio, mostly for weather updates. It hadn't been on, but it crackled. Static first, then a voice. Distorted, broken, not enter hole. I froze. The signal cut, then returned. Do not enter the hole. The voice sounded strained. Familiar, but warped. Like it had traveled a long distance. My first thought was that someone nearby was playing a prank. Maybe hikers. Maybe hunters. I looked around. Nothing. The forest was empty. The radio went silent. I waited. Nothing more. The logical part of my brain said, turn around. Leave. The other part said, it's just interference. A coincidence. I stepped closer to the edge. The darkness seemed thicker now, like depth without dimension. I crouched, extended a stick into it. The stick vanished halfway through. Not broken, not burned, just gone. I pulled back. The half that remained was smooth at the end, as if cleanly cut. My heart started racing. This wasn't a sinkhole. This wasn't natural erosion. It was something else. And instead of walking away, I laughed nervously. Curiosity won. I lowered myself slowly into it. There was no falling sensation. No impact. No darkness closing in. Just a sudden shift. Like blinking. One moment forest floor. Next moment, I was standing. On solid ground. Under a gray sky. The forest looked similar, but different. The trees were taller, thinner, the bark pale, the air colder. The sky had no sun, just a uniform gray stretch like an overexposed photograph. I turned around. The hole was behind me, still circular, still dark. Relief flooded me. I could just climb back out. But before I moved, I noticed something else. There were no sounds. None. No wind. No birds. No distant echoes. The world felt paused. I stepped forward. The ground didn't feel entirely solid. Not soft. Not hard. Just slightly delayed under my weight. I tested my phone. No signal. GPS blank. Compass spinning. My watch had stopped at 1:47 p.m. I looked back at the hole. Still there. Still reachable. I should have gone back immediately. I didn't. Instead, I walked forward. After 30 minutes of walking, I saw something through the trees. Buildings. Small houses. Identical. Arranged in rows. Like a town built from a template. No cars. No broken glass. No signs of decay. Just emptiness. The doors were open. Inside, furniture stood untouched. Beds made. Tables set. No dust. No personal belongings. No photos. No clothes. Like someone had built a town but never lived in it. The air inside the houses felt colder than outside. I entered one kitchen. Opened a cupboard. Empty. Opened the refrigerator. Empty. Turned the tap. No water. Everything functional, yet unused. I walked down the street. There were no names on buildings. No road signs. No advertisements. No graffiti. No human mark. Just structure. Without life. This wasn't an abandoned world. It was a prepared one. Waiting. For what I didn't know. Panic started creeping in. I ran back toward the forest. Back toward the hole. But the forest looked different now. Denser. The path I walked earlier wasn't clear anymore. The trees seemed repositioned. Subtly. I kept walking. Running. Breathing harder. Then I saw it. The clearing. The hole. Still there. Relief surged through me. I rushed toward it. And stopped. The hole was closed. Not filled. Not covered. Just gone. The ground was solid. Smooth. Unbroken. I dropped to my knees. Touched the earth. Nothing. No mark. No sign it ever existed. That's when fear became real. The first night was the hardest. The sky never changed color. No sunset. No sunrise, or just gray. Time didn't move properly. My watch stayed frozen. My phone battery didn't drain. It stayed at 82%. Forever. Hunger came normally. Thirst came normally. So biology worked. But the world didn't. I searched the town for food. Found nothing. I returned to the forest. Eventually discovered small fruits growing on low bushes. Bitter, but edible. Water collected in shallow pools. Cold, clear. Days passed. Or what felt like days. Sleep came in uneven bursts. Dreams felt longer than reality. I started hearing things. Not sounds. Memories. My own voice repeating thoughts. My own footsteps echoing behind me. Sometimes I saw movement in distant streets. Shadows turning corners. But whenever I followed, nothing. One cycle. I don't know how many days in. My radio crackled again. I had kept it with me the whole time. It had no power source left. Yet it activated. Static first. Then a voice. Lucas. My name. Clearer this time. Do not enter the hole. My chest tightened. The voice was distorted. But familiar. Too familiar. Turn back. The signal broke. I gripped the radio tightly. And then I realized something. That voice. It wasn't just similar to mine. It was mine. Older. Exhausted. Desperate. I turned the radio off. It turned back on by itself. If you hear this, don't enter. Then silence. My thoughts spiraled. If that was me, then when was it transmitted? Before I entered? After? Time didn't behave normally here. What if the message traveled backward? What if I had already been here longer than I realized? While exploring the town again, I found something new. A building I hadn't seen before. At the edge. Inside was equipment, metal shelves, old transmitters, radio towers connected through wires running underground. All powered. But by what I couldn't tell. On one table lay a notebook. Blank pages. Except one. On that page were words carved deeply. Not written. Carved. Do not enter the hole. The handwriting was mine. I knew it instantly. The slant of letters. The pressure marks. The way I shaped the O's slightly narrower than normal. I dropped the notebook. My breathing became shallow. Had I been here before? Was this a loop? Did I enter? Survive? Find the radio station? Send a message? And somehow, that message reached my past self? Tempted him? Made him curious? Created the event? I tried something. I spoke into the transmitter. My voice echoed slightly. I said nothing at first. Then slowly. Do not enter the hole. The equipment hummed louder. The air vibrated faintly. The gray sky outside flickered slightly. I felt dizzy. The ground shifted. For a moment, I saw another version of the forest overlapping this one. Brighter. Alive. Then it vanished. The machine powered down. I stumbled outside. The town looked the same. But I understood something now. The hole wasn't random. It wasn't a tear. It was a loop. A self-created trap. I heard the warning. I ignored it. I entered. I survived. I sent the warning, which tempted me, which caused me to enter. No beginning, no end. The hole didn't send me somewhere new. It sent me forward, to a version of the world emptied of humans. A version waiting. For me, and maybe for others. But maybe no one else ever heard the message. Maybe I was the only one curious enough. I returned to the original clearing again. Dark. Where will I go? Back. Further. Another empty lair. Or will I erase myself completely? The radio crackled one last time. My voice again. Desperate. Lucas, please. Don't. I laughed. Softly. Because I understood now. That message is the reason I stepped in. It wasn't a warning. It was bait. And I am both the hunter and the prey. I'm standing at the edge again. The gray sky unmoving. The town silent. The radio in my hand. If I step in, maybe I return to my world. Maybe I become the voice earlier in time. Maybe I create the message again. Maybe I trap myself forever. I don't know how long I've been here, but I know one thing. If you're hiking, if you find a perfect circular hole in the forest floor, if you hear a radio crackle with your own voice saying, do not enter the hole, please walk away, because if you don't, you might be the reason it exists, and I might still be here.